Good morning. I am Reverend Carolyn Patierno. I am one of the ministers at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Congregation in New London, Connecticut. And I have the great honor this morning of welcoming 4 congregations from Connecticut to our service this morning. This morning, joining us, we welcome the Unitarian Universalist Society East from Manchester, the Unitarian Society of Hartford, the Unitarian Universalist Society of New Haven, and the Universalist Church of West Hartford. I extend a warm welcome as well to my beloved colleagues, the Reverends Josh, Kathy, Heather, Linda, Susan, and Adam. On behalf of all of us, we are so grateful for this opportunity to worship together. I am here this morning at All Souls with Associate Minister Caitlin O'Brien, with the Director of Faith Formation, Perry Montrose. Jesse Edwards is behind the scenes handling all of our tech needs. Tammy created the beautiful slides that you will see, and then we have musical guests who we are excited to share with you. Kira will be lighting our chalice momentarily. Welcome. We gather this Sunday after a week that was filled with ugly images of white supremacy on parade in our nation's capital. I know that since Wednesday, many of you, like me, have spent a good deal of time at the edge of your seats, taking in these images, taking in a democracy laid bare. There has been so much to process. I'll share 2 guiding quotes that helped me to navigate the twists and turns, the horror that we witnessed. The first is from Reverend Rosemary Bray McNatt, who is the president of Starr King School of the Ministry, our seminary in Berkeley, California. Reverend Rosemary said, "Until you understand white supremacy, everything else you see will confuse you." Reverend Rosemary calls us to deeper understanding. And this from the Reverend Dr. Jackie Lewis, who serves Marble Collegiate Church in New York City. Some of you may know that tragically her church suffered a terrible fire just a few short weeks ago. And Reverend Jackie shared this. She said, "So damn tired of living in a country that treats Black grief as a threat and white rage as a sacrament." Reverend Jackie calls us to righteous witness. And so in the midst of all of this, we then begin with a poem by Richard Blanco, in which he describes his relationship with his country, our beautiful, flawed, exuberant, aberrant, aspirational, falling way short country, our country, the United States of America. So I invite you to leave the edge of your seat now and settle back in. Bring your whole self to the quiet and connection of this moment, for you are joyfully called to worship. We begin with what I know of country.
Those picture books from grade school days. White-wigged men standing tall in velvet-curtained rooms, holding feathers in their hands, inked words buzzing off the page into my heart's ear.
Life, liberty, happiness.
For we, the people, singing of shining seas to seas crossed, the spacious skies of a God-blessed land, when a song and a book were all I knew of country. But then I lifted the shades, let light shine on the carpet stained with lies I'd missed, and saw the dust of secrets settled over the photos. The house began to creak, fall apart around me. Alone for years, waiting at the kitchen table, the last to know. Asking my reflection in the windows,
how could you, America?
With no answer, for all I knew of country was my hurt and rage.
But home was home.
I dusted off the secrets, cleaned up the lies, nailed the creaky floors down, set a fire, and sat with history books I'd never opened, listened to songs I'd never played, pulled out the old map from a dark drawer, redrew it with more colors, less lines. I stoked the fire, burning on until finally.
Okay, nothing's perfect.
I understood.
I forgive you.
I said, and forgiveness became my country. I stayed, you stayed, feeling what we've always felt.
To know a country takes all we know of love.
Some days are better than others, but never easy to keep our promise every morning of every year, of every century, and wake up, stumble downstairs with all our raging hope, sit down at the kitchen table again, still blurry-eyed, still tired, and say,
listen, we need to talk. So ends our reading.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and wide. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
Thank you for joining in that hymn. Each week, we light a chalice, the symbol of our faith. And each week, we ask a soul to pass the flame and help us light our chalice. Today, we are excited to have fifth grader Kira lead us in the words of our chalice lighting and pass the flame.
Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words. As we gather, apart yet together, we say, I am not alone, you are not alone, and we are not alone.
Thank you so much, Kira. Each week at All Souls, we also light a candle of peace or gratitude. Today, we light a candle of gratitude for all the people who worked to shift Georgia politics from a more singular point of view to one that includes all the voices in the state. Over the past 3 years, the League of Women Voters signed up more than 33,000 new immigrant voters. Hearing stories of women who became citizens and then got to vote for the first time in 2020 was heartening at a time when immigrants have been under attack in unprecedented ways. Countering tactics of voter suppression that have been used to silence the voices of people of color, Stacey Abrams' Far Fight action has been ensuring that everyone is able to vote their voice. There are countless volunteers, organizers, and canvassers who gave of themselves to make this union more representative of its diversity. While racist and anti-Semitic groups violated the Capitol, a Black preacher and the son of Jewish immigrants were headed for that very place as US senators from Georgia. It was an ecosystem of voter outreach and engagement from a multitude of organizations that helped make this happen. Malika Redmond, chair of Pro Georgia, a coalition of 40 organizations and founding executive director of Women Engaged, said, "We get to come together from our different vantage points and weave together a collective work plan to get out into the state in the broadest and the deepest sense to all of our communities. Let us hold up all those who have given franchise to the historically oppressed and made our democracy that much more real. We ignite our flame to honor the light they brought to dark times."
I am reading a card from Paula Nowakowski. Now, for those of you who don't know Paula, I assure you that in a way you do. For a moment, I am going to invite you to imagine one of your congregation's steadiest matriarchs. She comes to services every Sunday and everyone is thrilled to see her. Every minister here in the pews this morning also knows Paula. She helps when the going gets rough. She makes you laugh in the middle of the sermon so that you lose your place. Similarly, when you occasionally bicker, it ends as well in laughter. At 92 years, she's curious, full of gratitude, no nonsense, spiritually grounded, hilarious. That's Paula. And all of you know her. Anyway, the card. With permission, I share this piece of it. Paula wrote, "Reminiscing the other night, picturing faces of our ministerial leaders and many members, I cried with heart-hurting loneliness and much love given and received. As I read, I gasp for my own heart hurt, brought on by the thought of Paula being so lonely. To be clear, Paula talks to her loving family every day. She has a great partner in Ed, a church romance, which I love. She has a dedicated spiritual practice of which she insistently reminds me when we talk on the phone. She reminds me, quiet mind, open heart, present moment." And she adds, "And Carolyn, I pray a lot. The world needs our prayers," she says. And still, the long loneliness. Dorothy Day was one of the founders of the Catholic worker movement. She chose voluntary poverty. She spent time in jail for her pacifist stance in a range of issues she felt strongly about, which is all to say she walked the walk. Here is a photo of her in her later years. I love this photo. She is sitting calmly, as you see, primly even, looking up and beyond her straw hat at someone who is encroaching on her space and more. That person has on their hip a holstered gun. Dorothy Day seems unfazed. She's tough. And still, the long loneliness is a theme of her autobiography, and in fact, it is its title. She got that title from something a nun said way back in the 1500s. Mary Ward is her name, and Sister Mary said, "I think, dear child, the trouble and the long loneliness you hear me speak of is not far from me. It is not far from me." Mother Teresa acknowledged the same kind of loneliness as did Dorothy Day. And although I think she will laugh that I'm putting her in such company, I would say Paula too. Which is to say, the long loneliness is an existential, lifelong reality for all of us, saints and sinners, grounded and flighty, connected and unmoored. We are born, after all, kicking and screaming for having been left. The struggle is real, and it goes on through all of our days as these questions persist. Who knows who I am? Where is my place? These are not questions reserved solely for young adult novels. We are all still and always in the cafeteria wondering, who knows who I am? Where is my place? And so as I hold Paula's card, I am aware of the long and lonely winter that lies ahead. Potential in your bathrobe all day days that for many, the pandemic has served to exacerbate. And although Paula says that her heart-hurting tears turn to tears of joy, knowing that the vaccine is on its way, we know that we have got a long way before we can all safely be in our sanctuaries together again. And so we have to figure out a way to somehow hold this loneliness, this long loneliness, some kind of way, some kind of, and I wonder, do I really want to say gift? And I think I do. The Feast of the Epiphany, which happened just this past week on the 6th, celebrates the journey of 3 wise men, magi's, magicians, who make their way bearing gifts for Jesus, a baby, as the story goes. They came from opposite directions, all following the same shining star, trusting that star as much as they must trust their gut sense that shows each of them the way. Epiphany. It's a great word. It is particularly fun because it offers the opportunity for English majors such as me to say one of our favorite words, which is onomatopoeia, which is a fancy way to say that the sound of the word suggests its meaning, as does the word epiphany. Say the word at home, epiphany. From the Greek, to manifest, to shine forth. Intuitive perception or insight into the reality of essential meaning. So said a round of definitions that I dug up. At their most dramatic, an epiphany can change the course of a life. Insight into reality of essential meaning has that kind of power. And one reality of our essential being is loneliness. Exacerbated in this time for sure, as I said, but loneliness is with us always. In loneliness, though, we may learn something new about ourselves, something heretofore hidden, eclipsed by details of a full life that may, in this moment, manifest, shine forth. Last week, Reverend Linda, Susan, and Jesse ritualized setting down that which has weighted us down. Maybe the weight of loneliness has been one of those things. Maybe we can hold loneliness lightly. Just before Christmas, the souls at All Souls received a few surprises at their doorsteps. Among these was a note on a little slip of colored paper. And the note concluded, "You are loved. You are not alone. By the strength of our communion, we will keep hope kindled." I was taken by the number of people who circled back to say that, in particular, the words, "You are not alone," moved them to tears. Where you are, I invite you to say together, to write in the chat, "I am not alone. I am not alone." Dorothy Day understood the ever-present power of loneliness, and she had a solution. She called the only solution when she said,
The final word is love. At times it has been, in the words of Father Zosima, a harsh and dreadful thing. And our very faith in love has been tried through fire. We have all known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and that love comes with community.
the first and final word is love. Sometimes that faith in love, as Dorothy Day said, is tried by fire. If community is the only solution, it is shattering to recognize that sometimes you don't recognize your fellow Americans, supposedly your community. This past week, as just one example. And still we keep on. We sit down at the table early morning, blurry-eyed, and say to our country, we have to talk. We reach out to each other as a reminder that a faith community superpower is that in each embrace and song and cup of coffee is the invitation to resilience. In these times, each time we open the mysterious unsigned note, click on the link, see the text message, pick up the phone, we are reminded that we must place our faith in love. We must follow that particular star. That community is the only solution to the long loneliness that we may hold now lightly, perhaps, as a gift. And who knows what may manifest through the long winter ahead. Here comes the sun, dear ones. Shine on. Blessed be, and amen. Amen. I am so excited to welcome to this service Dan and Liz Spurr. They are beloved for so many reasons at All Souls, not the least of which they're two little girls who bring such delight and joy to our community. They are also beloved because they so generously share their gifts of music. And so we welcome them, we thank them as they welcome the sun.
Thank you, Dan and Liz, for bringing us some light in song. That was wonderful. And thank you, Carolyn, for your poignant and inspiring words. We now enter a time of giving in our service. We at All Souls received a note this week from someone who is not a member of All Souls and not known to us. They expressed gratitude for the respite from the pandemic and politics that these worship services offer. Included was a generous donation. Donations are gratitude manifest and support our presence in each other's lives. We invite you to monetarily express your gratitude for the congregations gathered here and the difference they make to those known and those just tuning in to find a new place of respite and inspiration. The donation links for each congregation are listed in the description of this YouTube video. And thank you for your generosity. We prepare ourselves for the offering with these words. We give to the work of our congregations. Our work weaves the fabric of love called community. To this end, we dedicate ourselves and this our offering. The offering will be gratefully received. Thank you, Tammy, our administrator, for that beautiful music. We see Tammy's artistic talents visually every week, but little did you know that Tammy also has artistic talents in music. And to all of you, for all you have given and sacrificed, thank you.
Thank you, Perry, and thank you, Tammy. So good to hear you and your guitar. Each week we pause to pay attention to the joy or sorrow that we experienced in the week just past. There are two ways to share. One is by email to belovedcommunity@allsouls.net. Joys and sorrows that are received from 2 p.m. on Thursday are read aloud in the Sunday service. Also, you can share right now. You can share by entering your joy or sorrow into the chat, where it will be witnessed and held by those gathered virtually here. As you type your joys and sorrows in the chat, Reverend Carolyn, Perry, and I will light candles of intention for a minute of shared silence. Blessed be. From the Hartford area, we share that Kathy Lee's loving companion, Larry, died last week after an illness. Kathy Lee, we hold you and Larry in our hearts. May you be comforted. From the New London area, Martina and her husband Lucian's baby was born on December 28th. Leo joins his older brother Nico, and all are healthy and well. We send our wishes for moments of rest and many blessings, Martina and Lucian. Let us bring our spirits to a space of prayer or meditation. Let's take a deep breath in and return it slowly to this space. Remembering that we live in this rhythm. This rhythm is sacred. We hold tenderly the joys and sorrows lifted up in our service chat. We weave our love around each one. And we hold tenderly the truth that Americans have lived through another week of thousands of COVID-19 illnesses and deaths. More and more patients with the virus are people we know personally. And medical staff in regions such as Los Angeles cannot keep up with the needs of the ill. Breathe with me. We Americans have lived through another week of some leaders deceiving constituents, pursuing power with dishonesty. We watched as ordinary Americans tried to take power by physical force. And though they failed, they reminded us we are vulnerable. Breathe with me. In this quiet moment, we don't turn away from seeing wrongdoing and suffering in our country. We see it. And we look inward to remember our breathing, to ground ourselves in a longer story, not a prettier story, but a longer story. We draw comfort and strength from this community of faith. And together, we stretch into our connection to a mother country too expansive to be named, so that we can return to the work of healing our world with our most reverent attention. May you be grounded and blessed today by your breathing. Amen. I hope you'll join Reverend Carolyn and me in our closing hymn, May Your Life Be as a Song.
May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing, wake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn,
Thank you, Carolyn and Caitlin, for leading us in that hymn with your beautiful voices. Please join Kira in saying our chalice extinguishing words.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. And our chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion.
Thank you, Kira. I invite you to put your hand upon your heart and reach out to the community beyond that you know is there. Community, the only solution for the long loneliness. Then go in peace with, as the poet says, a raging hope for our country and all its people, and return again with great joy. Amen. Amen. Before we enjoy our postlude, there are just one announcement really, and that is that next week the church tour pauses and all congregations will be worshiping at home on their own, and then the tour resumes again the following week, the 24th. The Zoom coffee hour will follow the service right away after the postlude. All are invited. The link was sent to you this past week, the Zoom link. And so go back to whatever day your e-blast was sent and you will find the link there. And we look forward to welcoming you to that conversation. Thank you all again for being here this Sunday. We appreciate your company.
So at 11 a.m. this morning, all the congregations' youth are invited to join in a combined youth group and program for junior high youth. And you would have received a link to the Zoom meeting for faith formation and religious education from your religious educator. So reach out to them if you didn't receive it. But we're excited to all come together like we have in this service to look at community and what it means to all of us. So we look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Perry. And now Bill will offer his gifts of music. Thank you.